When Okami and his team were sitting in the spawn room, the team asked Okami, if the enemy team were to 5-man counter you, would you be able to beat them? Okami answered, if the enemy tank were to lock Orisa, it might cause me a little trouble. But would you lose? Nah, I'd win.
So, after being in the game for over a year and a half, I think we can safely say that Junkrat Queen has had one of the biggest roller coasters up and down the tier list in Overwatch 2. From being absolutely broken in the beta, to being an absolute throw pick in the early seasons, to getting her one absolutely meta season in like season 4, and now to being just a decent pick overall. As you guys saw by the title of today's video, I'm going to be making a newly updated Junkrat Queen guide on tips and tricks on how to play against every hero, which is obviously inspired by CarQ's video, but it's over a year old, so I think it should be updated, especially with all the changes that have occurred, like the DPS passive. And I like to believe that I'm qualified for this, as even though I haven't shown my rank in my last videos, I'll show it now, that I am definitely a Junkrat Queen one-trick and have solo queued her all the way to GM and top 500, as in this screenshot back from season 4 before this account got permabanned, but I have another one showing that I'm still a Junkrat Queen main in the recent seasons and can still get to the top 500 if I try. And although I'm not as good as the guy CarQ got to speak in his video, I'd still like to believe that I'm decent enough at the hero and know enough about the game to be able to talk about this. So without further ado, let's get started! So the first hero is going to be D.va, and overall the matchup against D.va with Junkrat Queen is pretty neutral unless you're on a map that has a lot of high grounds like Gibby where she can abuse them. But since D.va can eat your knife when you're trying to pull someone and eat all your damage, what you really want to do against D.va is spam Carnage and spam melees when she's down in front of you and brawling, since she can't eat that bleed damage. And the second thing you really want to do against D.va is after she tries to disengage with rockets, you want to knife her in the back and pull her down as she tries to fly away. Now the second hero we're going to talk about is Doomfist, and once again the matchup between Doomfist and Junkrat Queen is a pretty neutral and skill based matchup, to be honest, but the biggest thing you want to do against Doomfist is be careful of his punch cooldown, as it's a hard CC every 4 seconds and it can really fuck you up by messing up your ult and your Carnage. One of the best things you can do against a Doomfist as a Junkrat Queen is wait until he blocks, and towards the end of his block animation, stick him with a knife and he is going to try and slam and punch away, but what you want to do is just pull him back and he's pretty much a free kill without block or any cooldowns. Now moving on to the Junkrat Queen mirror, it is completely skill based, and what I really want to say though is use your cooldown second. A lot of Junkrat Queens will needlessly waste their shout, and it's the perfect time to engage and fucking just mess them up. If a Junkrat Queen tries to Carnage you, shout and it'll basically negate all the damage you're about to take. And if a Junkrat Queen starts to play too aggressively, try and stick them with a knife and pull them behind cover to where their supports can't see them, and just they're going to become a free kill if they can't get back. Now moving on to the fourth hero, which is Mauga. Personally, I like going against Mauga as Junkrat Queen because I think it's very easy, but I know a lot of Junkrat Queens that don't like it. But the main thing you want to do is never engage when he has Cardiac, as he will just not die because he has a 40% damage reduction and he heals off of you. So what you want to do is when you see him pop Cardiac is retreat, and then once you see him not have Cardiac, just full rush him, because you deal so much damage with your team, you're just going to melt him. And if you know that the enemy Mauga has ult, just watch out for a little trick that I like to do and other Maugas like to do, is the second they hear you pop ult, they will pop Cage, as it just stops you in the middle of your ult and you're going to get melted. The fifth hero we're going to be talking about is the first tank that Junkrat Queen has a losing matchup against, and that is Orisa, as her kit just fucking destroys you. It negates so much of your kit. It's just very annoying to play against. You have to respect both her spear and her javelin spin, as they both can stop your ultimate dead in its tracks. To be honest, the best thing a Junker Queen could do against Orisa is wait till her fortify is almost over, stick her with the knife, and when she tries to back up, pull her forward and it'll disorient her, and it's your best chance of killing her and dealing a lot of damage. Moving on to the 6th hero, which is Ram. I'd say Junker Queen has a favorable matchup, but most people say that it's a neutral matchup. And to be honest, Ram is only scary to you when he's in Nemesis form, because when he's in Omnic form, you just fucking blow him up. He doesn't really do enough damage to you, and you just win the 1v1. Therefore, the best things you could do against the Ram is when he pops Nemesis, you want to stall it out, and right when it's about to end, you want to stick him with Knife, because when he comes into Omnic form, he usually places a shield in front of him, and you want to pull him in front of the shield, carnage him, and just barrel stuff his head and deal a fuck ton of damage. Another small thing you want to do against Ram is if you and your team get stuck in Ravenous Vortex, shout, as the speed boost will kind of negate the slowdown and you'll get out to safety. The 7th hero, which is poor old Reinhardt at the bottom of the tier list. Junker Queen obviously has a favorable matchup against Reinhardt since he is literally everyone's bitch in this game. The way Junker Queen plays against Reinhardt honestly depends on your support lineup, because if you have a quicker lineup like Kiriko Lucio, you're going to want to ignore Reinhardt and go for his backline, but if you have a comp without Lucio, you're going to want to just play from a little bit of range, since it's really hard to hit you with Fire Strike because of your smaller hitbox, and you can break Rein's shield very easily. However, in general, what you want to do when brawling Reinhardt is just spam Knife and spam Carnage, again like you did against D.va, because his shield can't block it. And the other thing you want to do is when you see Rein drop his shield to start swinging, is you want to knife him and try and pull him behind cover where his supports can't see him, because he is very easy to just blow up. Now the 8th hero we're going to be talking about is Roadhog, and now even though this is a neutral matchup, you are the squishiest tank in the game and you have the least amount of movement besides Roadhog. You are the tank that should be the most afraid of Hook. Other heroes that don't have movement like Zarya have Bubble, which stop Pigpen slow and blocks damage. Reinhardt has a shield. Ram has block. They all have better ways to negate damage, but your shout just isn't enough. And because of the DPS passive, getting hooked now is almost a fucking death sentence for Junker Queen. You trying to run away and your supports trying to help you, the healing is already cut, like you're just going to die. This is why the best thing to do when playing against Hog is play corners and dodge Hook, because once Hog does not have Hook, the matchup is definitely in your favor, since he has a huge hitbox and his gun has a lot of spread, and you can build really fast ults off of him. Once again, watch out for his hook, since it can cancel your ult, and another way he actually has to negate your ult is make sure that you know if he has whole hog, because if you ult, he can turn around and just whole hog you away from his team. Moving on to the 9th hero that we're going to be talking about, and that is Sigma. The Sigma matchup against Junker Queen is definitely Sigma favored, since he can outrange you, he can stop your ult with Rock, and he can stop your Carnage with Rock as well. Therefore, what you want to do against Sigma is bait out Rock before engaging, and then shout onto him since he struggles up close. And when he grasps, again, like you did with D.va and Rein, just spam Carnage and melee since he cannot grasp your melee attacks. And finally, if you can, try and play from the side of his shield and stick a knife in him so you can pull him in front of his shield and Carnage for free. Now moving on to Winston. Winston is very easy to play against this Junker Queen. When he engages, shout so your team gets extra health and he can't kill them. And before he jumps away, stick a knife in him, and then when he tries to jump away, just pull him back and he should be a free kill. And you have a shotgun, so yeah. Wrecking Ball is another matchup I'd say is favorable for Junker Queen, and what you want to do against him is just aim your knife where he's about to slam, and don't pull right away. It's better to pull when he tries to grapple away, so you break his fireball and you can get extra damage in on him. It's also nice to shout as he's about to slam a teammate so they don't take too much damage and get the extra health to tank the damage afterwards. Finally, we're moving on to the last tank, which is Zarya. who has a favorable matchup towards her against Junker Queen because her bubbles stop bleed, her bubbles stop her ult. Ulting a Zarya just means she's going to bubble herself and cleanse the bleed. So what you want to really do against Zarya is bait out both her bubbles and then just fully engage on her, because you can blow her up if she doesn't have any bubbles. And with that, we're done with the tanks, but I now just realized we're already 10 minutes into the video and only finished with like a fourth of the characters. So for the DPS, I'm going to do a speedrun and really pick up the pace here. So with that, the first DPS we're going to be talking about is Ashe, and Ashe will usually be playing high grounds. So what you want to do is find a way to get a little bit closer to her, knife her off of high ground, and either kill her before she can coach with gun back up, or just wait till after she coach guns and then pull her down and kill her. Alright, so Bastion's the next DPS, and what you want to do against Bastion is never engage when he either is in turret form or has turret form up. What you want to do is bait him into turret form, and then hide behind a wall until his cooldown is almost up, and then you want to stick a knife in him as he's turning back into assault mode, and then just blow him up. Another thing you can do is if Bastion tries to ult you, you just shout you and your team, and you'll barely take any damage, and you'll just escape the radius easily. Moving on to Cass, a little thing you want to be wary of is his nade, as it can stop your ultimate if he throws it at your feet during the startup, which is very annoying when a Cass just clicks E and it negates your whole ultimate. Another thing is if you stick your knife in him, you want to either wait until he rolls or just wait till your knife comes back, because if you pull early, he'll just roll backwards and his roll actually overpowers the pull, so you'll end up doing nothing. The next DPS is Echo, and Echo is very dangerous for Queen if she gets comboed without Shout, because she will get absolutely melted by stickies and her focusing beam. But if Queen has Shout, if you get hit with stickies, you can Shout to negate almost all the damage, which will make it harder to combo. And if the Echo actually doesn't have a pocket and she's flying up around, Queen has more range than people actually thinks she does, so just poke her out and you'll actually deal a good amount of damage, helping your hit scans if they're struggling. The fifth DPS we're going to be talking about is Genji, and Genji can deflect your melee for bleed, your carnage, your primary fire, and your knife throw. But the one thing he can't deflect is your ult, so if you see a Genji deflecting in front of you and his team behind him, it's a perfect opportunity to ult. And another thing you can do is pop Carnage, but wait until his deflect animation is almost half over, because Carnage will actually hit him the second his deflect ends and he'll take all the damage. Also, try and knife him before he either deflects or dashes, because once he tries to dash away with the knife inside of him, you can just pull him back and then he'll have no escape. Against Hanzo, it's very simple. Don't play out in the open, because one headshot from him does literally over half your health, and if you stick your knife in him, it's the same idea as Cassidy roll. If you pull too early, his jump will actually overpower your pull and you'll end up doing nothing, so wait to see if he panic jumps and then pull him in so you can get a free kill. Against Junkrat, he's very annoying to play against as Queen. You really want to watch out for his trap, or want to know that if he has his trap on cooldown, because you can either throw it at his feet or at your feet at the start of your ult, and he can cancel your ult. If you knife him, you either want to pull him in and kill him as quickly as you can, or wait until after he mines and then pull him back so he gets no distance. And you're actually also one of the best tanks in the game to shoot tire because of how much damage you do, so don't be afraid and shoot tire, and you can even tank all of its damage if you just shout at the right time. The next DPS is Mei, and Mei is very annoying. She's probably one of Junker Queen's biggest counters. Just make sure to not get walled off, and one thing you can do is ult if she ults you, so you can escape the ult and turn the tide of the fight. But other than that, you can't really do anything to Mei as Junker Queen. I mean, I guess you can pull her in and force her to use Ice Block, but then she'll just wall herself off and live anyways. Against Pharah, it's the same idea as Echo. You have more range than people think you do, so just do a little poke to the Pharah and help out your hit scans if they're struggling. And other than that, it's not really your job to kill a Pharah, but always stick a knife in her if she's ulting on your team at least. Moving on to the 11th DPS, which is Reaper. He is hard to deal with as Junker Queen up close, but if you can force Wraith early, you can chase him down with Shout and get an easy kill. And also, if he ults on you and you have Shout, just be a Giga Chad, have a bigger dick, and just get in there and double tap him in the head. Against Sojourn, it's very simple. Don't stand out in the open and let her charge free rails that'll deal over half your health. And again, the same idea as Hanzo and Cass. If you stick a knife in her, wait for her to panic slide and then pull her back for an easy kill. Or if she waits until your knife goes out, unlucky. Moving on to Soldier, he's another hero that'll be playing on high grounds, so once again you want to try and find a way to get a little bit closer to him to make the knife a little bit easier to hit, and then pull him off high ground, which is almost a death sentence for him since he has no way back up. And another thing you're really good at is if he pops heal station, pull him out of that too, and he's another free kill. Against Sombra, she can be really annoying against JQ, hacking you so you can't use your sustain and shout, but it's really not your job to kill a Sombra, but if she is on your backline, you should turn around and help out your backline at least a little bit. And something you can do is if you can notice that Sombra's about to EMP, you can shout before she EMPs to negate almost all of the damage. The next hero is Symmetra, and something that people just don't do for some reason is shoot the turrets. Please, for the love of a god, shoot the turrets, because they apply the DPS passive now, and it's going to be so annoying walking through a microwave while having 20% less heals. But two things you can do against Symmetra is if she ults, try and hit a knife beforehand, or try and hit a knife while she's dancing between the walls and pull her away from the wall so she becomes a free kill. And another thing Symmetras like to do is TP into your backline, and once again, once she TPs, if you can hit a knife and pull her away from her TP, she's another free kill. Moving on to Torb, his turret can be very annoying, so please make sure to shoot it, and if it's out of range, ask your DPS or supports to shoot it, because that turret can really fuck you up, as it also applies to DPS passive like Symmetra turrets. And another thing you want to do against Torb is just land every knife, because his hitbox is fucking humongous, and if he comes up close to you, his head hitbox is also humongous, so you have no business ever losing that 1v1. Against Tracer, she's very mobile, she's very annoying, she's very hard to hit anything on, but poke her out, because you can definitely force recall, and once again, your range is a lot farther than people think it is, so you can deal a lot of damage to Tracer. Finally, on to the last DPS, Widowmaker. Don't stand out in the open, she's going to be playing high grounds, so try and get as close as you can to hit an easy knife and then just one-shot her, because she has the least amount of health in the game. And again, if she's in the middle of grapple, don't pull your knife, because the grapple will overpower the pull. And with that, the DPS are finished, so now it's finally time to move on to the supports, starting with Ana. Ana, the infamous hero that was fucking up tanks for 5 years in a row. And what you want to do against Ana is watch out for obviously sleep and nade. Sleep can stop your ultimate, and also being naded at any time is terrible, but she can also nade you during your ult. So if you ult into 5 people and you turn around, you're not going to be getting any healing, so she might die, but you're also going to die. Baptiste is up next, and the only thing you really gotta worry about for Baptiste is his immortality field, because if you ult, he can just immor. But what you want to just do is turn around and either pull him out of the immor and kill him, or what you can do is pop Carnage and hit the immor and him at the same time, so they both take the damage at the same time, so it'll break immor and kill him. Moving on to Brig, I believe Junker Queen has a very positive matchup against Brig, since you can just Carnage her through her shield, but what you really want to watch out for is when Brig has rally and you try and ult, because most Brigs will rally in reaction and then shield bash you out of your ult. And again, if you land a knife while she has shield bash, the same concept as Hanzo and Cassidy, just wait until after she shield bashes, pull her in, and she's a free kill with the Carnage combo. Illari is up next, and the first thing you want to do against Illari is always break her pylon if you're able to, because it dramatically increases the cooldown of her pylon, and Illari only gets value when she's dealing damage, so if she's forced to heal with a right click, she's barely getting any value. And again, if you land a knife in her, same concept as the others, wait until after she uses her jump and then pull her in for a free kill. Moving on to the next hero, which is Kiriko, which is probably the biggest problem in this game for Junker Queen, because I fucking hate Kiriko, and all Junker Queen mains do, because she clicks E and negates all of your kits. She clicks E and stops your ultimate, she clicks E and stops your Carnage, so what you want to do is bait it out, and then you can ult finally. Against Lifeweaver, he has 2 methods of escape, but your knife just stops both of them. If you knife a Lifeweaver and he pedals up, you can pull him right back down. If you knife a Lifeweaver and he tries to dash away, again wait until after he dashes and then pull him in for a free kill, and his ultimate is a free beacon to just Junker Queen ult, so his ult does nothing. Up next is Lucio, and Lucio is very annoying to play against because he can speed his team away from you, and when you try and carnage someone, he'll just boop you away. And when you try and ult, if he has beat, he'll just completely negate your ultimate. So the best thing to do against Lucio is just try and hit a knife on him, and once he tries to run away, just pull him back and get a free kill, because he'll probably not have boot by then. Moving on to Mercy. Fuck Mercy. Fuck Mercy players. I hate this hero. This hero is useless on your team. There's no point to ever lock this hero. Just kill her. I hate her. Up next is Moira, and Moira is very slippery to deal with because if you knife her, she'll just fade away. She can fade away from Carnage, and she can fade away from your ult. So the best thing to do against Moira is wait until after she fades and then ult her, because it's basically just a guaranteed kill. And now onto our last support any character in the game, Zenyatta. Discord is very annoying and detrimental to Queen, so if you ever get hit with Discord, just disengage for a second and a half and cleanse it off of yourself and save yourself the trouble. Zenyatta's hitbox is very large, so therefore it's very easy to land knives and Carnage combo him, so you should be a free kill. And something I noticed is that when you ult as Junkrat Queen, a lot of Zens for some reason ult back, and it might save them, but it's literally just a complete waste of their ult because then their entire team will get antied and die anyways. And that's the end of the guide. This video was a lot longer than honestly I expected it to be, but I hope you guys enjoyed it, and thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.